welcome to another session on spectrum. So today we will begin the poem Death Fugue. Alright, so first and foremost you have to understand that this poem is actually a translation. It was translated by Christopher Middleton into English, that is. This is basically a German poem, and I shall send you the link in the description box below, and you can just click on it to watch or to hear this poem recited in German, probably by Paul Celan himself. So you can just listen to it so you will understand. Now this is translated for one, and the translation, English translation, was done by Christopher Middleton. Okay, so we had discussed in the last class, we discussed the Holocaust in general. I told you of the horrors of Holocaust, the terrible, horrifying ways in which the Jews were subject or killed. They were killed as though they were parasites. They were considered animals that could be slaughtered just because they do not belong to the Aryan race. Not because of any crime or anything. It's just based on one person's pseudo-scientific belief, Hitler's pseudo-scientific belief of the Aryan race. And therefore he propagated, or there was a lot of advertisements where they tried to infuse in the minds of the Germans, the Aryans themselves, a hatred towards Jews, and they became superior. They felt superior, and slowly they started to have this feeling of superiority. They started to feel themselves as superior race, and they considered the Jews as inferior creatures that are not fit to live. Alright, it is based on this backdrop that the poem Death Fugue is written. Another thing, I did tell you that, I did mention to you, Paul Celan, he himself was a survivor of the Holocaust, and he tells, explains the horrors of this Holocaust, his childhood experience, the trauma that he had to face in these concentration camps, the scenes, the horrifying scenes that he saw in these camps. So these people who were in these camps, concentration camps, were most often starved to death. They had to do all sorts of labor, and they were not paid. They it was like they were sent to damnation. Okay, they were killed in a way. And those people who were sent to the concentration camps, these people who were in these ghettos or in these camps, many of them were to dig the graves for those people who were put in the gas chambers. The gas chambers are the places where they would be killed, the Jews would be killed, and to dig their graves, these Jews themselves, these people who were put in the concentration camp, they were to dig the graves for these people who were killed in the gas chambers. Okay, and it was like again very soon they knew that they also will have to face the same problem. They will also face the same fate, because very soon when they become weak and they cannot work, they will also be sent to these gas chambers, and they will also be killed. So it was a terrible, horrifying crime, in fact, and all this was done in the backdrop of the Second World War. The war where only after the last few years of the World War, the Second World War, did the world come to know of what was happening in Germany. They did not know what had no idea. The whole world had no idea of what was going on inside this German camps, these concentration camps. Okay, this was kept a top secret. And just to get, so Hitler, who had come to power, had two things in mind. One, to expand his empire. He was like, he saw himself as God. Okay, he wanted to expand his rule over the whole of Europe. That was one intention, and make Germany a very powerful place or a country. Another one that he had in mind was to completely eliminate these Jews and other tribes. He only wanted the Aryans to survive in this world. So these were the two things that he had in mind, and this is how he worked. All right, so the world came to know of it only towards the end, or after the World War, to be precise. Death fugue. Fugue of death. Now, what is fugue? Fugue is a form of musical composition where the main theme is repeated. Is repeated systematically. Okay, so here also we will find a systematic repetition of the main theme. So that is a form. The fugue is actually the form in which this poem is written. Now, why did Paul Celan give the name Death Fugue? Now, fugue is actually German. It was popularized by the German composer J.S. Bach. Now, he was a famous musical composer, and he perfected this form, and it shows the musical richness, the culture, the high culture or the musical richness of Germany. So here you can see that's kind of ironic. There is an ironic kind of feeling why Celan choose this high culture of Germany to portray what these people were actually doing in the shadow of the war. In fact, under the rule of Hitler. So Germany, which used to be rich in culture, Germany which used to be extremely powerful, at the same time very rich in its literature, in its musical composition in the past. Germany enjoyed a very rich culture in the past, which is disrupted by this horrible man, by Hitler, that is. So Hitler, when he came to power and when he started murdering millions of Jews, Celan uses this rich culture of Germany to portray the dark side of Germany under the German, or under Hitler's rule, under the Nazi regime. Okay, so that is Death Fugue here. Okay, so fugue, what is fugue? Fugue is actually a musical composition which is perfected by Bach, a very famous composer of Germany, say 100 years before Nazi regime. And this Death Fugue, as we move on, we will find that this music, this Death Fugue, is actually another kind of music which was forced by the guards, or the people, the guards in the concentration camp. They forced the people to play this music, or the Jews, not people, the Jews, to play this music while others dug the grave for burying the dead bodies of the Jews that were put in the gas chambers. So it comes like a background music also. There is the title of the poem refers to the music played by some of the Jews while they carried out forced labor. Now, what was this forced labor? It was about digging the graves. It was they dug massive graves. Of course, there were other labors also, other forced labors also, but here mostly it was about digging large graves, massive graves, to bury. So many people were killed. Okay, see, under Hitler, millions of people, millions of Jews were killed. Millions, I mean, I'm not exaggerating the number here. Millions of Jews were killed. Millions of Jews, gypsies, and those people who were not fit to be considered a part of the Aryan supreme race were all just eliminated. They were killed. They were sent to the gas chambers and they were killed. So to bury these dead bodies, they needed big graves, and these Jews themselves were assigned to dig the graves of their countrymen, of his fellow men who was put in the gas chambers. Again, they would also be put later. They will also have to face the same fate. Okay, so look at the title there. The title seems to be very appropriate for this poem. Okay, Death Fugue. All right, Fugue of Death, or the music of death. You can call it that way also. So what is fugue? Fugue is a musical composition where this main idea is stress. That's just a form. Okay, but here you can just read it as the music of death. The title is very appropriate also. In that way also you can read it. So let's begin. We begin. Black milk of daybreak. We drink it at nightfall. We drink it at noon in the morning. We drink it at night. We drink it and drink it. We are digging a grave in the sky. It is ample to lie there. A man in the house, he plays with the serpents. He writes when the night falls to Germany, your golden hair, Margaret. He writes it and walks from the house. The stars glitter. He whistles his dogs up. He whistles his Jews out and orders a grave to be dug in the earth. He commands us, strike up for the dance. Black milk of daybreak, we drink you at night. We drink you in the morning, at noon we drink you at nightfall. Drink you and drink you. A man in the house, he plays with the serpents. He writes when the night falls to Germany, your golden hair, Margaret. Your ashen hair, Shulamith. We are digging a grave in the sky. It is ample to lie there. He shouts, stab deeper in earth, you dare, and you others, you sing and you play. He grabs at the iron in his belt and swings it, and blue are his eyes. Stab deeper, your spades, you there, and you others play on for the dancing. Black milk of daybreak, we drink you at nightfall. We drink you at noon in the mornings. We drink you at nightfall. Drink you and drink you. A man in the house, your golden hair, Margaret. Your ashen hair, Shulamith. He plays with the serpents. He shouts, play sweeter death's music, death come as a master from Germany. He shouts, struck darker and strings, and as smoke you shall climb to the sky. Then you will have a grave in the clouds. It is ample to lie there. Black milk of daybreak, we drink you at night. We drink you at noon. Death comes as a master from Germany. We drink you at nightfall, and morning we drink you and drink you. A master from Germany, death comes with eyes that are blue. With a bullet of lead, he will hit in the mark, he will hit you. A man in the house, your golden hair, Margaret. He hunts us down with his dogs in the sky. He gives us a grave. He plays with the serpents and dreams death come as a master from Germany. Your golden hair, Margaret. Your ashen hair, Shulamith. The poem itself, when you look at the poem looks very disturbing, right? It's a lot of repetition and there's a lot of enjambments, right? And the punctuation marks, which sometimes you wonder there aren't any punctuation marks. And that shows the disturbed mind of the writer, the poet. And if you look at the structure of the poem also, there's a lot of disturbance, there's a lot of not confusion, agony and fear in the poem. As so it is of a kind of death's note. You would find that such type of feeling, very sinister feeling in the poem. You can smell death in the poem itself. Now let's begin slowly. Black milk of daybreak, we drink it. Now if you look at the repetition, the main theme of the poem or the main theme or main idea is repeated in every stanza. This kind of musical composition is referred to as fugue. Okay, where the main idea or phrase, even in a musical composition, that tune or that main idea, main phrase or note is repeated systematically. Likewise, you will find that it is repeated here also systematically. We drink it at noon in the morning, we drink it at night, we drink it and drink it. A man in the house, he plays with the serpents he writes when the night falls to Germany, your golden hair, Margaret. That is again and again repeated everywhere. Till the end of the poem, you will find a repetition. Your golden hair, Margaret, your ashen hair, Shulamit. Now the poem ends with two phrases, very disturbing two phrases. It is a reference to Margaret and Shulamit. Now these two are characters, literary characters. One from the German literary or the German rich literature, that is Margaret, and the other from the Hebrew, that is the Old Testament in the Bible, or the Hebrews, which the Christians call it as the Old Testament, Shulamit. All right, the princess Shulamit. So here you have it ends there. It ends again in a very disturbing manner. All right, so let's begin to analyze bit by bit. Okay, so black milk of daybreak, we drink it at nightfall, we drink it at noon. In the morning we drink it. In the morning we drink it. At night we drink it and drink it. We are digging a grave in the sky. It is ample to lie there. So we will just analyze up to that, and the rest of it also we shall, if time permits, we shall. So the speaker of this poem are Jewish prisoners. Okay, so the whole poem, I'll just give a gist of the poem and then we will move on. So they are the Jewish prisoners that are being spoken about, and the word black milk is used as a symbol here. It is a symbol. It stands as a symbol. And this, what is the symbol here? It is the symbol of unnourishing life or dirty condition of living in a concentration camp. They drink this toxic brew, that is, they drink this sort of black milk all day long. They drink it in the morning, they drink it at night, they drink it in the evening, we drink it and drink it. That's what they say. So they are forced, that repetition shows that they are forced to drink it. They have no other choice but to drink this toxic thing that is given to them. They also dig massive graves under the orders of the Nazi guards. That's what they say. We are digging a grave in the sky, it is ample to lie there. So they have two things are spoken of in lines 1 to 4. One is they drink this toxic brew kind of thing that are given to them. They are forcibly made to drink it. They have no other choice but to drink it. And the second one is they are digging graves. Okay, and now I want you to look at the word black milk. Now, what does this black milk, the word black milk suggest? So, this is not just, see, you shouldn't take this as a literal meaning. You shouldn't take it in the literal sense, that is, they drink some black substance or they drink a black, crude black oil like thing. No, it's not like that. It is a symbol. Okay, it stands as a metaphor to something. It stands as a major or big symbol for something. And so let's break this word down. Black milk. What is the color of milk? First of all, the color of milk is white, right? So milk is always associated with white color. Milk is associated with auspicious things. Milk is associated with something nice, nourishment, mother, feeling that a child gets from the mother. So many references, or so many interpretations. Nourishment, it refers to happiness, auspicious things. It refers to golden days. When there is a lot of milk, that means it is prosperous. There's a lot of that town itself, and like for instance, if that place is you must have heard of the phrase milk and honey. The land is the promised land. The Christians would be knowing it. In the Old Testament, it is written that the Jews were promised a land, a paradise, where there is milk and honey, the land of milk and honey. So there is a reference to this also. But here it is used in an ironic way. It is not the milk, that is the white color nourishment that one gets from milk, but rather it is black milk. They are forced to drink black milk. So just to picturize, I want you to just picturize or think, bear in mind, a group of Jewish prisoners. They are caught and they are put in the concentration camp. They are forced to work. There's nothing to eat. They are forced to starvation. They'll be killed. Once they are weak, they cannot work, they'll be just eliminated, because the only thing that the Nazis have in mind is to eliminate all those who are not, or those who don't belong to the Aryan race. All the Jews are to be considered fit only for elimination. So they are here. They are those people put in the concentration camps or ghettos or these places, the concentration camps. They are just being survived, or they are surviving, or they are let to live only to do forced labor. And once they are weak, they are not given any food or anything. Once they become weak, they will be sent to the concentration camp. So death is for sure, either through starvation, or they'll be killed through gunfire if they try to escape, or they'll be brutally killed by the dogs, or they'll be sent to these gas chambers. Anyway, death is for sure. So look at the word black milk now. See what it stands for. So just picturize these Jewish prisoners having to drink glasses of thick, sticky, crude oil, or just imagine how it would be. It would be very disgusting, right? How would we feel if we are forced to drink something like that? Thick, crude oil. How can we just imagine ourselves drinking such thing? No. So this is, I'm speaking about this not I'm just speaking, it's not to be taken in the literal sense. Don't take it in the literal sense. It means it is a symbol. It is a symbol of what? It is a symbol of the life in the camp. This black milk stands for just the opposite of what milk stands for. The life here, it means it is unhealthy. Milk nourishes you, gives you life. The first thing that a child gets is a mother's milk. It lives, it needs the mother's milk to live, to be a better or a healthy human being. Not just a human child, but also all animals. It needs its mother's milk to be healthy. Here it is black milk that is being given to them. So the reference or the symbol that it stands for is that it is the life here is physically and spiritually or mentally unhealthy, not fit for living. It is the black milk that is being served here. So creamy white milk would be the ultimate symbol for health and nourishment. But here it is black milk. So it is like inverting. Paul Celan, what he is doing is he is just inverting the idea. He's just turning the idea upside down. So just to tell the readers the happenings in the concentration camp. Okay, and he wants the readers to understand just the opposite of the white milk, the white creamy substance that is life sustaining or that is nourishing. Clear? Now let's look at the religious meaning also. I told you that in Hebrew scriptures, if that is the Old Testament for the Bible, for the Christians in their Bible, it's in the Old Testament. This Jews or the people of the God's own people, Israel people, were promised a land of milk and honey, and this was in a way of God's promise as of giving them the kind of paradise or the promised land. But black milk here stands as an ironic statement. It makes us think of this reference. Instead of the promised paradise, the Jews, that is the prisoners here are Jews. We here is a reference to the Jews. The poem is, the characters in the poem is we. You have a we and you have a man. That is, the man stands for the Nazis or the guards, and we here stands for the Jewish prisoners. So the Jewish prisoners, they drink bitter milk. So instead of the land or the promised land of milk and honey, what they have been given is a bitter milk, and they're living a hell of a life on earth. Another connotation, again, that I told you, is that milk has nurturing and parenthood. Okay, the Jews in the camp are not being nurtured. As I told you, a mother nurtures the child, makes a mother's milk makes the child healthy, and he can fight any sort of disease, or he is physically and mentally healthy. But here it is a reference to the Jews as abandoned or orphaned by its own father, its own mother or father, and the land is Germany. Germany has orphaned these people. They are now homeless, orphaned children of Germany. So here the motherhood or the parenthood is that of Germany. Germany being the father figure or the mother figure, preferably the mother figure, who should be nurturing them, who should be taking care of its children, have orphaned these children, and they are now living a life of terrible disaster. So black milk symbolizes the unwholesome and bitter quality of the camp experiences. So in Hebrew scriptures, which mentions the land of milk and honey, but in the poem, it is nothing like that. It is nothing but the hellish life, the terrible undernourishment that these people had to undergo, the Jews had to undergo in the hands of the Nazis. So that is with the lines 1 to 3, and we'll just quickly discuss line 4 also, and then in the next class we shall discuss 5 to 7. So this the fourth line, look at the fourth line. We are digging a grave in the sky, it is ample to lie there. We are digging a grave in the sky, it is ample to lie there. So the speaker here, again, the speaker in the poem is we, the Jews. The Jews, what they are doing there, what are they doing? They are to carry out forced labor. They have to work. They are forcibly. They are like slaves. Okay, they are like slaves. In the past, we had slavery, so they are like slaves. They are just taken away, and they are starved to death. And till they work, they are not given any nourishment. They are undernourished, and when they die, they just die. They rot and they die. Okay, so they dig graves where these the job or the labor that these Jews are doing, they are to dig graves. And to dig graves for whom? To dig graves to bury the dead bodies of those Jews or the gypsies or the ones who are considered unfit, undesirable. That's the word that is used. Even in your history text, if you look at it, the word used is by Hitler is undesirable people. Undesirable means the ones who do not belong to the Aryan race. So they will all be sent to the gas chambers. So these people, the ones who are remains or the ones who are not killed, are only put there they are made or allowed to exist only to dig graves for whom? For these people, these Jews that are killed in the gas chambers. So, and what the Nazis would do is, they would dump all these dead bodies into these big graves that are huge graves, massive graves that are dug, and they are just unceremoniously dumped. No prayer, nothing at all. They just dumped unceremoniously. Likewise, in our pandemic also something similar to it, right? The people who died, they don't even get the last rites, right? They are just, if you have heard of what had happened or what happened in America, a big place has been assigned, and they dig huge graves and the bodies are just dumped there without any proper or ceremonious burial. The last rites are not performed. No, right? So but then this is the pandemic. This is because of the pandemic. But here it is man-made. It is just nothing but brutal thing. It's not because of the pandemic, or it's not because of COVID or any other virus, but it is just man, the virus, the Nazis. There are many very harrowing stories and images about the use of mass graves during the Holocaust. There are many stories. And in fact, they can be seen as some of these can be seen as the iconic image of the period, that is the period of Holocaust. And look at the line, we are digging a grave in the sky, it is ample to lie there. Digging a grave in the sky. They say they are digging a grave in the sky. It is ample to lie there. So the grave is not in the ground. Again, they say they are digging a grave. So historically, or as per history, what the Nazis did was this: the Jews were made to dig the graves for burying the dead bodies of those ones who died in who were killed in the gas chambers. But in the poem, when Paul Celan writes, he uses it in a very figurative manner. He uses it in a very metaphorical manner. He says that they are digging graves not in the ground but in the air. Now again, there is also a reference, a little bit of reference to history again, because it is said it is in the air. Sky means air, right? So here the poet uses the image or a figurative grave, an imaginary. So the last part of the line, that is, it is ample to lie there. What do you mean by it is ample to lie there? That is, you won't lie too crumpled. Don't worry, you will have enough and more space to lie there. That is very ironic. It is ample to lie there. You won't lie too crumpled or cramped. That is not crumpled, sorry. You won't lie there too cramped. That is too, there is many bodies would be dumped there. So don't worry, you will get enough and more space because you are going to be in the air. Your graves are going to be dug in the air. Now what does it mean? It is as if someone is convincing them or trying to convince them, don't worry about it, dying is actually good for you. You are unfit to live here. You are unfit to be living in this world where the pure Aryan race lives. And therefore it is actually good, this dying is actually good for them. So in a way, if you look at that sentence, we are digging a grave in the sky, it is ample to lie there. It is ample, that last line, that last part of the line, like last, not we are digging a grave in the sky, / then it is ample to lie there. So it can be used in two. And again, this is ambiguous sentence. This is ambiguous line. Line means it has multiple interpretation. One is the Jews are saying that we are digging a grave to bury our fellow or our beloveds or the people who have died in the gas chambers. Another way is somebody is telling, the Nazis are telling, we are digging a grave for you. And we are digging it in the air, and you will have enough and more space to lie there. So don't you worry about it. Death is good for you. Or it can be looked as I told you, it is the Jews themselves telling the ones who are dead, or who are even the ones who are digging the grave, they are telling themselves also. They are looking forward, better to die than to live like this. Okay, and they are looking forward to death as a way of escaping this cramped and horrible conditions of the camp. So it's for them. So there are different ways of looking at this. 2, 3 ways of looking at it. One, the historical meaning of digging the graves where the dead bodies will be put in these graves. Another, somebody telling them, the Nazis would be telling them, better you die because this world is not fit for you. Death is actually good for you. So it better you die. And you have ample lot of space there. You don't worry about it at all. We'll be digging the graves in the air. Again, that I will come to it after this. What it means by digging the grave in the air. So it is better that you die. And in another way, you can look at the Jews themselves looking at this terrible experience as, they are looking forward to death. They are welcoming death itself. And they are welcoming it because it would be an escape from this horrifying, filthy conditions in the concentration camp. So Celan is probably alluding to the fact that many Jews, again we come to a historical reference. See, I told you Paul Celan himself was a survivor, a Holocaust survivor. So he has seen a lot of things happen in front of his eyes. So he must be referring to another thing that the world perhaps does not know of. That is, see, it's difficult to bury so many, 1 million, more than 1 million Jews were, more than 1 million Jews were killed by Hitler. So where do you think they could bury all these bodies? And therefore, some of these bodies, some of these Jews were cremated during the Holocaust. Okay, and especially the ones who were in the or who were killed in the infamous gas chambers. So these people were cremated, they were burnt. Okay, so if you look at it, it is just easier for them. The Nazis, they didn't even bother, or they didn't even want to take time to give the victims proper burial. Another thing, the shortage of land to bury these people, and mainly they just didn't care. These people were considered impure, they were considered as filthy creatures. So they just didn't even care, they didn't even bother to give them a proper burial. Proper burial were denied to them. They were just put in that place, that the graves that they were dug, that were dug, and this massive huge graves, these bodies were dumped in it, and they were set ablaze, or they were just set fire to it, and they were burnt. These bodies were burnt. So it was more convenient for them to burn these bodies either in these newly dug graves. They would just set it, or set a place, or they would just burn it in these graves, or they would burn them in the huge crematoriums. Okay, so in this sense, the victims, if you look at the word now, look at that sentence now. We are digging a grave in the sky, it is ample to lie there. Now just try to understand what it means. If their bodies are burnt, if they are cremated, then where is their grave? The grave is in the air, right? The ash, it rises, right? So in this sense, the victims had their graves in the air. Once the body is burnt, where do you have the grave? The grave is the air itself. The sky is the grave. Right? The ashes, the fire, the fumes, they go up into the sky. So in that way, if you look at it, the victims have their graves in the sky. So when you look at this poem, you will have to base it on history as well as the metaphorical or the figurative way in which Paul Celan tries to tell us the horrifying things that happened in or during the Holocaust. So we'll stop there, and the next few lines we shall continue in the next video. So thank you and keep safe.